get your notepads ready. It's time for the Love Power Radio Show with your girl, Myss Meme, aka Meme the Great.
Hey, what's up, gang? It's your girl, Myss Meme, aka Meme the Great. Welcome to the Love Power Radio Show. Today is April the 30th. We are already at the end of April. Summer is upon us. I hope you guys got your summer bodies ready. And if they're not ready, at least, hopefully you've been working on them, getting them together for the summer and the beaches and the water and the waves and all of that. And then before you know it, we'll be at Christmas. I keep telling people Christmas will be tomorrow before you know it. So hope you guys are ready. Welcome to the Love Power Radio Show. Listen, so today, the ladies of Wombilee, and I had some hot topics, but they have so much information that they've been putting out about womb care, self-care, and so many things that I feel like we have missed over the years that I'm gonna skip hot topics. If we got time at the end, then we'll dive into those. But I want to get kicked off with talking with the ladies of Wombilee first to make sure we get as much information out as possible. So a little bit about the company. It's a natural menstrual pad company on the mission to bring the importance of a healthy, cared-for womb to the forefront while empowering women to acknowledge menstruation as a strength, understanding the honor within. It all begins within. Wombilee was founded in Dallas by two entrepreneurs wanting women to take their health into their own hands. From 7 layers of protection to the graphene strip that help one's pH balance while inhibiting bacteria, it's time to heal our wounds. And it definitely is that, because if you guys don't know, I sure do, based off experience, that fibroids are on the rise. People having fibroids has been around for a long time, but it's definitely on the rise. And there are a lot of things that I feel like, especially after looking at this page and the website, there are a lot of things that we were not told or we haven't been practicing properly. So without further ado, welcome the founders of Wombilee.
Hi, how are you all? How are you today, Myss Meme?
I'm great. So as we were discussing earlier, first of all, I always ask everybody, how was your week? And so tell us, how was your week, especially since somebody is still celebrating their birthday.
Oh, my week was so long. So as long as still going, just came from a teen expo where I was teaching young women about entrepreneurship. So, it's still going.
Nice. And so how's it going with the birthday celebration? Tell us about it. I want to know.
Usually every year I go out the country, but this year I just wanted a new spot. So moving into my new house, and that's the gift to me.
Nice. Congratulations. That's a huge step too. So yeah, definitely want to take that in and absorb every piece of that, because that's huge. Congratulations. When you having a house party? What I need to bring?
Oh no, there's gonna be a house of not that many invites, a house of peace.
That's for real. Yes, definitely. So when you finish doing everything else out in the community, you can come home and truly woosah. That's awesome. So my week was a bit busy, but it's ending with me sitting before you guys. So I'm thoroughly excited about that. So let's dive in. What made you want to come up with a company talking about womb care, especially when for so many years, even now, that's just something, you start talking about appearing in public and people are like, oh my God, I can't believe she said that. So what made you want to do that?
So I have a nonprofit called Pan African Think Tank, and so I was at the time I was traveling throughout Eastern Africa and was just learning about the stories of different women and girls who had to miss out on school or miss out on work simply because, one, they didn't have access to menstrual care, or two, they couldn't afford menstrual care. So I reached out to a few companies to try to see if they will sell me the pads wholesale. And either they were not willing to sell them wholesale or they just were not responding. So I'm not going to keep asking over and over, you know, it's just like, okay, let's see if we can get it done ourselves.
Wow. Okay, so when you say couldn't afford, is that because it was so expensive or just because what was going on with that?
Yeah, it's the same thing here in the United States. People will be surprised a lot of women and girls here can't afford menstrual pads. I think that sometimes when they see the price of a menstrual pad, they say, well, oh, everyone can afford it. Well, you're not in everyone's pocket. Sometimes it's food over menstrual care. And a lot of times that's what it is. You know, sometimes this woman has a child, so it's diapers over menstrual care. So that is what I mean by afford. And simply, some people literally just don't make enough, you know, especially when you go into other countries outside of Western world countries. I know when I was in Uganda, rent for a month is like $50 USD, but that's a lot for, you know, so yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up having a nonprofit for Pan-African think tank.
I travel around the world. I think it was by the time I went to country like 79. I was just like, people of African descent, we all think we're so different. We think our problems are so different. And yeah, they're a little bit different, but they're really the same. And so I was like, there's power in numbers. So there's just a lack of education between the African diaspora and Africans when it comes to, we're really just close cousins and we've been fed these lies about one another. And so that's where the Pan-African came in. It's more like education and entrepreneurship. Those are our focus areas.
Nice. And how long have you had that?
We launched in 2019, but like started our research in 2020. So it's still a baby.
Oh, cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, actually, the thing about it is actually just getting started. You know, once you get the idea and get it started, everything else will come as you need it. The people, the information, you know, like you said, you're still doing your research. So the whole idea is to get it started. So kudos and thank you for that, because I feel like that's huge. You know, again, to see a need and to actually, instead of saying, well, somebody needs to start or somebody needs to do, and you actually did it, right? And I know I was reading one of the articles that you were in. I don't remember if it was Sheen magazine or not, but how you came up with the idea and you came back home and you told your now business partner about it. Was there any type of hesitation, or was it like, nah, I know this got to be done, so either you gonna ride with me or no?
Yeah, so actually the family had came together and we had started like just throwing out a bunch of ideas, and no one really liked any of their ideas. And so I was like, hey, I have this one idea that I personally want to do by myself, but if y'all want to know what it's about, I'll let you guys know. And so I was like, I want to make menstrual pads. And the family was like, that's it.
Nice. Just like that. If it can only be that easy for most families with somebody who has an idea. That is so. So does entrepreneurship run in your family?
So on my dad's side, yes. So everyone on my mom's side are like teachers in education, but my dad, and his side, they've always been about, you know, they worked in corporate, but they realized like it's probably also better to have your own thing as well. So yeah.
And did they teach you, how many siblings do you have?
So it is 7 of us total, but only 4 of us, like from, you know, my mom and my dad, because my dad got remarried. But my dad was an entrepreneur. He had like literally got laid off and decided to go into real estate when we lived in Los Angeles. And so he used to pay me under the table to work with him. So that's where I picked up a lot of the business, you know, information.
And for the people listening, that's not a bad idea. You know, they say teach a child, you know, which way to go, and when they grow, they won't depart far from it. So I think that's an awesome idea, especially since, you know, you picked it up, you ran with it then, and you're still running with it now. So that's awesome. Did he teach? And so everybody else, all the other four, or all the other seven total, how many of you all have your own business?
Yeah, so Raffinae LaJuan, the co-founder of Wombilee, she has a amazing food marketing company. Like it's on 3 different continents. My brother under me, he doesn't have his own business, but he trades stocks and bonds, and he has a master's degree in astrophysics. And then my sister under there, yes, my sister under there, she has her own business. She's like into like facials and the esthetician thing and the shea butters. And then the younger 3, they're like way too young. One is like 3 years old, and the other are in middle school. So
you'd be surprised at what some of them young ones come up with.
Yes.
Oh, I am surprised because I don't have children. And so it surprises me all the time to see stories or clips of children who had this idea, you know, and their family or their parents actually took it and ran with it. So it's, you know, one of them 4-year-olds might be selling candy at school for some, you know, for some extra money.
Right.
So I'm telling you, so they can get the toy they dreams for Christmas because mama tripping.
That's true.
I would not be surprised. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
So I'm Nichole. The C stands for Kristen. I just learned a long time ago that people mess up Kristen so much, so it's C Nichole. I graduated from University of Houston with a marketing degree. Studied abroad twice, so one time in Ghana, one time throughout in London. So it kind of like bred my my will to want to travel, and throughout travel, it kind of like just shaped my life in the sense of the things that I'm passionate about, the things that I do. So I'm an author. I write books for children and adults about with African history and, you know, African diaspora and history. You know, I have my nonprofit. I also have a Ankara boutique, so it's like African print dresses. I work in marketing, and yeah, everything is basically under like Pan Africanism. I do music also that entails history, but also like have a little bump to it. So I'm just all about education. So that's
Nice.
my life. If I'm not traveling, then I'm at home. I'm a movie buff. I love watching movies, and that's really me.
And you said all that without taking a breath. That's pretty awesome. Not too shabby. And I love watching movies. So I have a few topics here that I wanted to discuss, and there were so many on the page and the website. And so I know every time I see a post, it's like, what? Wait, really? I didn't know that. Where did that come from? How come nobody told us? And one of them, what wait for me was, and I think I put it in the post, this last post about the weather, cold weather affecting the period. How does it work?
Yeah, so basically, once I found out that fact, I was like, oh my goodness, it makes so much sense. So I don't know if you know, but they usually tell you to drink room temp water, because when you drink cold water, it takes your body longer to, you know, warm it up and, you know, make it go through the system, because it's like cold constricts. And so same thing with the uterus, cold constricts.
Oh.
And so that's how cold weather, you know, more cramping, heavier periods.
Wow. Never thought about it with that type of breakdown, because cold water, cold constricts.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to just take it out. Just take it out. Just here. Sometimes that's how I feel. And then let's talk about the 4 phases of a menstrual cycle.
Yes.
So no, I saw about that. Tell us about that.
Yeah, had no idea. Because usually when we say we're on our menstrual cycle, and like we should be saying that we're, you know, on our periods, not on our menstrual cycle, because the menstrual cycle is 28 days. And then I had to think back to like birth control. Why is birth control 28 days? It's something that we don't think about. And it's because it's the entire menstrual cycle. So phase 1 is when you have your period, right? So that's when you're getting rid of the egg that you didn't use. So your lining is leaving the body as well. Then you have follicular, which is it's getting the body ready to have that egg transferred to the uterus. And then that's when you have your ovulatory period, ovulation. So basically, it's like that's the perfect time for you to get pregnant if you're going to get pregnant. So that's about a 24-hour cycle. After that, if you didn't use it, the body enters the luteal phase, and that's when it's changing the hormones to get you ready to have that period again. So that's
I'm still writing as you're talking. That's what I'm doing, because I'm like, wait, okay, I didn't have that question when I was reading. So hold on, wait, okay. And that leads me to the withdrawal versus the period. Let's talk about the difference, because when I was reading, it said that, that last week is sugar pills, and they explained that to you. Well, they did. I don't know if they still do. But they don't say that you're not actually ovulating. Did I read that right?
Yeah, they didn't tell me that. And even for me, so there's two different types of birth control, though, let me say that. But I think that in this day and time, most women are on the hormonal birth control, the combination pill. And so what the combination pill does, it makes sure that you don't ovulate. So then, like, there is no egg, it's just not, your hormones aren't even there. And so the last week of what's supposed to be your period is actually withdrawal bleeding, because like there's really no egg to get rid of. You're just releasing those hormones that were there. So yeah, it's called withdrawal bleeding, which is a lot of times doctors even put women on that because it makes their period lighter. And it does that because it's not an actual period. It's a withdrawal.
All these years. That's crazy. So, I don't even know where to go with that question. I mean, how to go, from that. Because when I was reading, I reread it. And I reread it, and I was like, wait. So what are you supposed to do with? Like, is there something left over? Is that why people get pregnant when they're on the pill sometimes?
Well, you actually don't even have to have withdrawal. If you wanted to, you could just skip those sugar pills and go to the next pack. I personally don't do that, but it's something that can be done. Women who get pregnant on their period, it's usually because it's an unhealthy, they have an unhealthy menstrual cycle, meaning somehow they're ovulating and having their period at the same time. And that's not supposed to happen.
Okay.
I mean, and someone also get pregnant on their own birth control too, because you have to faithfully take it daily around a certain time. You can't be like, I'm not going to take it one day, I'm going to take the next. That's not how that works.
Okay. And that's something that I know, even for me, way back in the day when I was on it, that was something that the doctors would be like, it has to be at the same time. It has to be, at the same time. And you can't take two if you skip one.
Yeah.
I mean, because people do that. Oh, I missed last night, so I'm going to just take it in the morning. And it still defeats the purpose of what they're there for.
We have to be so responsible.
Just to be an awesome woman. I mean, come on. So, okay. Back to the talking to going in public. Were you ever, and I probably asked this already, okay. Were you ever, has anybody ever come up to you, let's go there, and said, okay, you're crazy for doing this. You shouldn't be talking about, periods in public and all of that, especially the older generation outside of the people that you actually teach?
Yeah, no one has said anything of such, but at the same time, I mean, if you look into my background, I'm coming off someone who's a Pan-Africanist who's already very vocal about where I stand and very rebellious. So when it comes to talking to me about the period, I don't think so, because we already have it in our mission statement that we want women to see menstruation as a strength. So if there are women who feel some type of way, then they're just not following us or talking. But as far as I've never heard that. I have heard older women encourage us, saying that they're happy that we're doing it because it's basically kind of like taboo for their generation. But for me personally, it was just never taboo. Like, I've never been one of those girls who hid her pad or tampon while she went to the restroom. Like, it was like, this is what it is. Like, boys have this, girls have this. Like, that's just how I always looked at it, you know. And so that was just the process.
Nice. What advice would you give to someone who's having heavy periods? I know you said if certain things happen, that means they're unhealthy, or their womb is unhealthy, or they're having an unhealthy period. Can you give us like different symptoms of a healthy period versus an unhealthy period? And then what advice would you give to someone who's having heavy menstrual cycles?
Yeah, so heavy menstrual cycles is, I would say, if you have one of those, then you probably should get checked first. Because sometimes women, especially women of African descent, we don't even know we have fibroids. We're just living with them. We just think that that's how a period is supposed to be. Some women have heavy period because of their diet, because of stress. You know, it's been said that if you want to have one of your healthiest periods, 2 weeks before your period, cut out dairy, cut out red meat, cut out excessive sugar. Which I know, especially American women, we have so much that we can get Uber Eats, DoorDash, that we don't even think about that. But also, some people may just have heavy periods because that's how all the women, you know, in their family had. I personally I've never had a heavy period, but my sister, who's also the co-founder of Raffinae LaJuan, she has heavy periods. We have the same mom. You know, it's just sometimes that's just the way life is. But yeah, it's really about diet and lifestyle. Also, you know, are you taking your vitamins? Is your uterus having a healthy flow? Because a lot of times women have heavy periods, not even a heavy period, maybe a heavy day, because they have stagnation, meaning that the blood isn't flowing how it should be. Also, you need to check your product. That's why we have Wombilee with no chemicals, no chlorine, no dyes, no fragrances. That messes with your uterus. You're putting something that chemically, whether it's in you via tampon or whether it's on your underwear via a pad, that's going back into your vagina, basically.
Wow. Okay.
All of that blood and everything.
Right. Let's I'm gonna take a break right quick, and then when we come back, we're gonna talk about that and the strip that's in the pad.
This show is sponsored in part by Flat Fee Tax Prep and Services, offering quality tax preparation, serving clients nationwide. For more information, visit www.flatfeecreditandtax.com. And don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you.
Hey, it's your girl Lisa Dene from Stunner Radio. I am so excited about the Loud Radio and Press Junket coming June 4th and 5th to Houston, Texas, baby.
If you're an artist, manager, A&R, publicist, really anyone in the entertainment field, you need to be at this event. Last year was amazing, and I know this year will be even greater.
So hit the link in our bio. Get your tickets today. Now, don't wait to the last minute before it's too late. You gotta be in the building, y'all, and we'll see you there.
Awesome. And we're back to the Love Power Radio Show here with C. Nichole of Wombilee. So let's talk about this graphite strip and how important it is to have a product like yours versus what's been on the market for years.
Yeah, so in Wombilee, there's this graphene strip, and the purpose of it is to help with circulatory health, metabolic health, and inhibit that bacteria. So, metabolic health helps with the pH, so like all the hormones and such. The circulatory health, that's what I was talking about with the blood flowing, not having the stagnation, and then
Mm-hmm.
inhibiting bacteria. So basically, all that bacteria that is sitting in your underwear, you don't want to on your pad. You don't want to put that back, into your body. So once it flows out, that's it. We're not putting bacteria back up into your flow. So
Mm-hmm.
um, it's important because a lot of times women don't even understand that your period should not be longer than 4 days. So if your period is longer than 4 days, then it's a lot of things, and also including those chemically pads. I know for me, my period when I use Wombilee, it's 3.5, like maybe hit a fourth day. But that's how it should be. It's just natural products. It has organic cotton. It's natural. Hmm.
I'm flabbergasted because I know so many people who have periods that are 7 and 10 days long. And I know one friend, when she finally got checked out, and this was way before I guess who she was going to knew about fibroids. She had fibroids for years. And that was the cause of hers was the fibroids, the lengthiness. But actually, a friend of mine posted just 2 or 3 days ago, because she was like, "Am I by myself? Like, I feel like crap. I'm kind of lethargic. I'm this and that. I'm anemia. I'm feeling this way. I'm on my cycle. Am I the only, And she was trying to get people to chime in and talk about it. So even with all that, being tired all the time, that's not normal when you're on your period.
I mean, of course, you can be tired. You shouldn't be exhausted. There's a
Okay.
difference. So when you're
Yeah.
exhausted, you may need to get something checked out. You may need to take some iron pills. There's something going on there. Can you
Mm-hmm.
be tired? Of course, your body is ridding itself of a whole situation, like a
Okay.
whole lining, unused egg. That's fine. Yeah, take a rest, but you shouldn't be feeling like you're about to die. Now that's a problem.
Mm-hmm. Because I know that's how I feel. But again, I've been dealing with fibroids. So, and I know that they say that's part of that is being exhausted, being, tired, causing anemia, all those things. And one thing that
Fibroids. Mhm.
go ahead. Oh, yeah, let's talk about that. Go ahead.
Fibroids and endometriosis. So obviously those are conditions outside of a normal period. So of course there's going to be certain symptoms that a normal period wouldn't have. But in terms of a normal period, you shouldn't be feeling exhausted. And if you are at that point, like I said, you may want to get checked out because you may have fibroids, you may have endometriosis, and you don't even
Mm-hmm.
know it.
Mm-hmm. And so, can you tell the people what endometriosis is?
Yeah, so it's like blood on the outer lining of your uterus. So blood, when you have your going through your menstrual cycle, it should be inside. It
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be on the outside. I don't have it, but just based off some of the research I've done, it sounds painful, and it
Yeah.
is.
I've heard that it is quite painful, as well as fibroids. Some people with fibroids don't have any symptoms, and some
Mhm.
do. So it does range from person to person and how many they have. Because I know with fibroids, it grow. As long as you have your uterus, it has. They can grow back.
Mhm.
And so, but I have heard that endometriosis is something that's painful. And so, what is it that's in your product that helps, or your product does help with both of these?
So the way it helps is it gives women with these super heavy periods because of fibroids, because of endometriosis, it gives them more protection. So obviously they have fibroids, they need to go through a procedure. There's this new procedure where you don't have to get a hysterectomy. I think it takes the blood out or something like that. So you can go through the procedure and all that. But until you go through that, usually with women with fibroids and endometriosis, they're bleeding through insanely amount of pads, like in one day. So our Wombilee heavy pad holds up to 200 milliliters of fluid. Understand that your average pad only holds about 10 milliliters. So our pad is holding 20 times that. So that is the relief for that, in the sense of just giving you a surface to where you're not bleeding through, tons of pads. You're not having to, maybe put on the pins because you're going through a ridiculous amount of pads,
Mhm.
And then we still have the graphene strip to help balance your pH.
Wow. So I really want to pull up and see how much 200 milliliters is, because it sounds like it's a lot. And I know for me, when I was looking before I found pads before now, it was important to have one with absorbency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know you said yours holds 200 milliliters. Will the person still feel wet?
No, so it
I know some
traps
pads.
it super quickly. Yeah, that's why we have the 7 layers of protection. It traps it super quickly. We have this thing called Japanese sap.
Mm-hmm.
Most good pads have Japanese sap in it. And that is kind of like, the easiest way I could put it is, when whether you have kids or not, you've probably changed their diaper and you see how all of that fluid is trapped in the diaper. And so that's what the sap does. It
Mm-hmm.
absorbs all of the fluid.
Okay,
Mhm.
cool. Well, I'm asking for the people in the back.
Yeah.
But yeah, the people in the back.
Well.
Sometimes, again,
I said it's
who are you saying?
perforated as well. So with it being perforated,
Okay,
that also
nice.
helps with the breathability. So you're not damp, but you're also not breeding bacteria.
Which would defeat the purpose. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell us where they can find you, because I already stalked your pages.
Yeah, so you can find us at wombilee.com. So that's WOMBILEE.com. You can find us at Wombilee on all of the socials. If you go to wombilee.com, you can also see if there are any doulas in your area that carry our pads. You click on where to buy, or you can also buy from us directly.
Nice. And if somebody wants to have you come out and speak, what would they need to do? How could they coerce you? Book you?
Yeah, so if it's out of Dallas, the way you can coerce me, you have to pay for my flight and my hotel. But
That's right.
if you're locally, yeah, right. I'm not paying for that. I've already traveled the world. But
Okay.
you can come in a virtual show. You can DM us at Wombilee. We have a digital marketer who handles that as well. Or you can hit me up. I am Myss C Nichole, so that's MSCNICHOLE. You can find me on all the socials there. And then as far as email go, you can just do info@wombilee.com, and that's where you'll find us.
Nice. This is so great. So also one thing I have down to talk about is women's periods sinking. And I know you posted it, but see, I read your posts. So, there are people who, I want to bring this up because I was actually in a space a couple of weeks ago in San Antonio. And so I heard young ladies talking about, one lady was like, oh my God, I just had it. And then one of her friends was like, ooh, but I just started. So I may have. And so, the lady was like, girl, please. So let's talk about how that actually is a thing.
Yeah, so there's only one way that your periods won't sink. And that is if everyone is on birth control. And my sister and I, our periods have synced several times, and I'm the culprit because I'm on birth control. So my period is gonna stay the same. But I remember one time she was like, I just got off my period. Are you on your period? I was like, yeah. She was like, and that's why I'm on another period. I was like,
yes, indeed.
You had birth control, it wouldn't matter.
Love you, sis.
But yeah, so we give off these pheromones And so since we're really all connected, especially if hanging out with your girl all the time, your body is, her body, your body, um, pheromones, hormones, and there you go, another period.
Wow, I'm good. They won't even give me birth control though because I have one tube and because of my age was what I was told. They
Okay.
will only give sugar pills, and I was like, I can do sugar on my own. Don't think I need that. I didn't see the importance, but that's a whole nother show. So let's talk about period signs and remedies, if you will.
Yeah, so it depends on what remedies are that you're looking for, like I said. So sometimes they have Dunquay pills. We've been told that helps with stagnant periods. We've been told that there's certain tea remedies, which is like, I believe is marigold, ginger root, and parsley. You can drink it as a tea.
Parsley?
But ginger root, and marigold. You
I just
put
want
it
to
in
make sure you said parsley. That's all.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna be honest with you, like the best remedy for a period is just changing your lifestyle. You can't be here eating like hot Cheetos and chili dogs and thinking that you're gonna have the best period. You're not. It's just that's all it is to it.
Wow.
Stress, cold, like we talked about, cold weather. Work out. Don't not work out. Like work out. That gets the blood flowing, gets the blood pumping. Take your vitamins. Have an active lifestyle. Eat right. Don't drink cold things. Don't drink sugary things. It's really a lifestyle change. That's really what it is. So you have to be willing to make that lifestyle change. Eat your fruits, eat your vegetables, leafy greens. That's what it's about. I mean, be cognizant of what type of pads and tampons you're wearing as well, chemicals, even your detergent. What are you washing your underwear with? So all of those things. You need to get adequate sleep. You need to be drinking water. I mean, it's literally the same thing that we've been told for years on end, but that we refuse to do it.
Yeah, told to because I'm looking at this list like, well, that sounds like what my trainer was telling me to do. No red meat, no dairy, no sugar. And I'm glad you said vitamins because again, I deal with people on a regular basis and I hear the back and forth. Some people don't think it's important to take vitamins, some people do. And you are in this thing talking about womb care, which is the center. So it's I'm glad you brought that up. Is that how important it is to take vitamins and make sure you drink water? Because me personally, I really love some ice cold water, but I see now that's gonna have. I do. As hot as it is in Houston, I gotta have me some ice. Okay, or at least.
Yeah, so as far as the vitamins go, I will say vitamin C, iron, those are really two big ones. I also take vitamin D as well and folic acid. And then those are the vitamins I take. When I know I'm about to go heavy, like work out a lot, or I just have to do a lot of physical things, I take turmeric and fish oil. But definitely women should be taking iron, like especially on your period. It's like a no-brainer.
Well, for some, again, it's not something that was openly discussed. And I know for me, I think my mom finally told me when somebody told her, and that was after they did a check, and this was years ago, but she was borderline anemic and went to have a check because her body had changed. And so she was like, oh, I'm going through the change early. Well, no. Because she had not been replenishing herself with iron was why certain things were happening. So and she made sure to pass that down, and I passed people that I come across. Hey, have you had your iron? Are you taking iron like you should? And then something that I do also is, and I finally found one that doesn't smell like dirt, but I drink beet juice. What? Beets smell like dirt to me. Sorry. But I finally found one that is sugar-free at Sprouts, in case anybody wants to know. And it is absolutely amazing. But I use that because in looking for different things for trying to be a little bit healthier, I was told that beets was something that helps aerate the blood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then back on your point, me saying it's a no-brainer, and you just brought something to my attention, is that's why we're about taking health back into our own hands. There's women or even, young ladies who don't go to the doctor once a year and get checked. I know me, I get my whole blood palette checked. So everything, so I'll know, what I need to take more of and what I need to take less of. And I think sometimes when we do go to the doctor to get that check, we're not asking them to check things like cholesterol, diabetes, platelet count. We're just going in there asking for a pap smear and a STD check. And I'm like, okay, but your
and not
body
necessarily in that order. Yeah.
You're right. So
I might ask in another order, and there ain't nothing wrong with that because at least you're going. But for some, because I do home health care, and I'm amazed at how many times I've been in the office and, the client is just like, okay, whatever you tell me to do. And it's like, no, you got stuff going on. What are you doing? Ask questions, talk to these people and tell them the truth so you can better help take care of yourself. And I remember actually pushing that with some people.
Yeah, you're right. That's just true, because I remember like going to the doctor and they're like, hey, we're going to do this. And I was like, okay, but then I also need you to do this. But I understood that most people wouldn't ask to do extra work. Like she was like, why do you ask for extra work? I said, well, I've always had doctors who push me to do extra work to get all my blood tested. So therefore, when I come to you and you don't push women to get everything done, I'm letting you know that I'm going to push you to make sure that I get everything done.
Yeah. And let's actually talk about that for a minute. First, I want to, before I forget, when you were saying you want a complete blood workup, and you listed some, but let's go back and list, if you can remember, all the things that you asked for, because some people don't know what to ask for, what to look for when it comes to, they don't know that, you can find so much out about your body via a blood test.
Yeah, so I'm going to be honest with you. They take 6 vials and they test like 6 different things. I do not know all of them, but I do know the main things that will trigger them to test the other things. Okay. And so that will be cholesterol, that's diabetes, tell them to check your iron, your blood platelets, and then that will trigger other things. Also, when you have them test for STDs, have them test for all the hepatitis and everything, because there's so many different things. There's so many different herpes. There's so many different hepatitis. There's so many different things that just get washed away because people don't know that they're there. And they can all get tested on the same blood. Your thyroid is so important to get tested.
Yeah.
So those will be the main things, and it'll just trigger a sheet. Oh, as women of African descent, especially, we think that our melanin is going to save us. No, just have them test for vitamin D. We are the most deficient in vitamin D.
Wow. And again, I'm glad you said that, because I'm quick to be #melanin popping. I ain't got to do all that. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm deficient in vitamin D every year. So, because in Texas especially, it's so hot. And they're like, oh, I don't want to go outside, but we need to go outside or get that vitamin from somewhere else.
Yeah. You're so correct. And then also, and vitamin D also helps with bones, So
Mm-hmm.
it is very important to have, but I would not associate it with us being deficient. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
I thought that far. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I take it because of my bones, right? Because I don't want to have end up with osteoporosis. I've had clients or patients like that, and so that's a, one had it so bad if she sneezed too hard, she could fracture a bone. And so it was like, let me get this vitamin D3 with rose hip right quick and go on and take 2 or 3 of them every day, even though that's too much, but yeah, that's and it also causes a lot of things too, now that you mention it. um Vitamin D deficiency also, not melanin, potassium is a good
Yes,
one.
yes, yes.
Potassium and magnesium, one of them, I know if you're deficient in it, it causes cramps. So but
Yes, and
I don't
so
remember
like
which one.
that will once you ask for iron, that'll be on on the list too. It'll have them do the magnesium test, and also I think the vitamin um D test also triggers the like the B12s and all those B tests as well.
Okay.
So mhm.
Okay. Awesome. That's good. Come on, girl. Give me some more information. I got a whole sheet of stuff. Like I didn't. This has been great. So, what are some of the things that you talk about though when you go? I know you said you were at a teen summit, and I
Mhm.
feel like touching on this because, and then also sharing the importance of what you guys do with educating people, especially men. What would be some of the pointers that you would give men who are single fathers raising their children, or just having girls?
Yeah, the first thing I would tell them is I wouldn't be be accepting, don't act like it's a bad thing. I know I started my period with my father and he was just like, oh my baby, it wasn't like now you're gonna stay in the house because you can get pregnant now, so just keep the open lines of communication on what the bodily changes mean and what can happen because of the bodily changes, because I mean it's also our responsibility. I tell women all the time, protect your eggs, don't give your eggs away for free. Like,
Mhm.
so it's also a responsibility, but at the same time, fathers need the right information. A lot of the
Yes.
times, fathers are listening to myths, are listening to stereotypes, are listening to stupid stuff like a tampon takes a woman's virginity. How, Sway? So,
Wow.
it's just
Hadn't
things
heard
like
that
that.
one.
Right? Yeah. So just be open to just walk the journey with her. If you want to know how the journey to womanhood looks, well, this is it. Obviously, you were not able to walk your girlfriend or your wife or whatever through the
Mhm.
journey, but
Mhm.
you're getting a front row seat firsthand to see how it is. And maybe,
Mhm.
I really hope that allows some traditional fathers to become more progressive, to understand that the things that, women go through, to understand, a little bit of our journey to just birthing kids or just being a woman period and having to
Mhm.
deal with periods and the whole
Right.
menstrual cycle. Be patient, dad, because
Please.
the girl's body is changing. She doesn't know what's going on
Mhm.
either.
Yeah. So
So
true.
it's a journey together. So um just make sure that bond is there, because if she needs you, she will reach out to you. She will call you. I can tell you now, when I go to the OBGYN and there's someone I want to talk to afterwards about my appointment, I call my dad. But that's because um, the relationship was built. Hmm.
Mhm. Nice. And having that emotional support too is huge. is huge, especially when you're dealing with teens or preteens. I don't know what the earliest age is now of starting, but I think I started when I was 10 or 9 or 8. I don't remember. And it was such a thing for me. I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. And of course, my mom was there, but to a degree, you know, I kind of wanted that masculinity from dad to, okay, tell me that it's gonna be okay, right? I'm bleeding already. But that's good. I'm glad that you have that type of relationship with your father and are actually encouraging other fathers to do it, because they do listen to and with them not being women or females or whatever, you know, I'm pretty sure for some it's like, I've been fortunate enough to have, you know, I have some male friends who have all girls, and it's just such a beautiful thing to see them dig in, research, ask questions of, you know, their female friends or whatever. Or I've had some that kind of, you know, bring their daughter like, I don't know what's going on, can you help? You know, but even that's better than turning a blind eye and leaning on falsities. You know, what did you say about the tampon and what?
Yeah, there's this thing where supposedly the tampon breaks your hymen, and if you lose your hymen, you're not a virgin. This is like old traditional ignorance. That's all it is. Because you can lose your hymen riding a bike. Some women aren't even born with hymens. Like,
yeah, doing the splits too, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or at least that's what I was told years ago. Yeah,
that's true.
Never could do them, so I don't know what they were worried about, but whatever. Okay, cool beans. Well, we are towards the end of the show. I have so enjoyed this information that you shared here. And I'm grateful that you took a stand when you saw a need and went for it wholeheartedly, all in, and brought your sister along. I'm glad that your sister came with you, because I think that's pretty cool for siblings to be able to work together and not tear off each other's neck. It's a great thing. So tell the people again where they can find you.
Yeah, guys, we are Wombilee, so you can find us at Wombilee, WOMBILEE. We're also Wombilee.com, so WOMBILEE.com. Sign up for our newsletter so you can get more of these tips that you're hearing about, especially if you are a girl dad. We need to stop the spread of false information. So we're actually welcoming you in. So come on.
Yeah, come on. So I did want to ask, and I skipped all over it earlier. How did you come up with the name Wombilee?
Yeah, so I work in marketing, so things come to me quick. My brain works pretty quick, and so I wanted to do something. At first, I wanted to name it Wombilee. Like I literally was just like, oh, Wombilee, because it's all about women. And then what I do is I go Google it to see if someone already has the name. Well, it's actually the name of a magazine. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, well, I still like I want to still do something woman, womb, uterus, Wombilee, Queen Bee. And that's how I was like, oh, Wombilee with the B. It took it was that quick.
Wow. And there you have Wombilee. That's awesome. It's all in a name. Yes. Nice. So at the end of the show, I didn't bring my notes. I give what I call love notes. And it's just something to think about, something to chew on until the next week, until, you know, the next day, whatever. A fun fact, it could be anything positive. What would your love note be to the people?
Oh, my love note is, in this time of transition, we are in spring. Soon enough, we'll be headed into summer. I hope that you're using this time to transition into all the things that you wanted to do in life. I hope you're transitioning with the right people in your life. I hope if you don't have peace, you're transitioning into peace. I hope that you're just transitioning into living life to the fullest. we're not officially out of COVID, but you've seen what has happened the past 2 years. It's time to walk in your purpose. It's time to walk in your joy. And it's time to transition into a better season in your life.
I like that. What are you, a pastor's kid or something?
No.
They're cool people. I'm not one either, but I was just, okay, nice. And so to piggyback on that, just do it. I love the fact that you saw a need and you took it into your hands instead of pointing or waiting on somebody else well, somebody needs to do this. Well, how come ain't nobody did this? And you just did it. You sat down, you figured out what needs to be done. You offered it. Hey, if y'all want to come along, cool. But if not, it's still going to get done. And so for the people, just do it, because like you said, live your life. So many of us are sitting on dreams. I, for one, am still digging out stuff that, either God gave me or stuff I wanted to do a long time ago, dreams deferred, goals not reached and all that. And just kind of figure out, it's never going to happen. And so, and it left me feeling a certain way. Right. And so now I'm at a place where I'm digging, trying to make those things happen. And so it's fun. It can be tiresome at times, but to know that the end goal and what that brings, and then on that journey, what I've learned, the people that I've met has been so amazing. I'm sitting here looking at you. And so, that's part of that. And so for anybody who has a dream that you lay down or you put aside because of life happening, pick it up and make it happen. Just do it. It is still obtainable. That's what I got. Thank you guys for tuning in to episode 15, fitting of the Love Power Radio Show. Thank you so much, Miss C. Nichole, for coming through and hanging with me today and giving us the information.
Thank you.
One more time where they can find you, and then we'll be out of here.
Wombilee.com, WOMBILEE, and at Wombilee on all the socials. Hit us up. Say hey. We'll be around.
Yep, and they'll actually say hey back, because somebody said hey back to me, and I was like, hey, girl, hey. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much for coming, Miss Nichole, and I look forward to having you back again and trying to, see, do you guys have any events coming up?
No events at the moment. We just got back from Panama, so we did a give back there, but not at the moment.
Okay, cool beans. And then for me, this coming Saturday, I'll be in Lufkin, speaking at the Purpose After the Pain conference. And so I'm nervous, but I'm excited. When the young lady came with the idea, I was like, you know what? Okay, cool. I think I can do that. Let's make it happen. So I'm really excited about that. And then say this is May 21st. I'll be in San Antonio for the I Am Fearfully and Wonderfully Made fashion tour, San Antonio edition. So make sure you stay tuned with your girl, because I'm going to be out there. Until next time, love ya. Mwah.